Okay, let's get started. So thank you so much, everybody, for coming to Lisa Arnold's virtual garden party and campaign launch. My name is Marissa DuPont. I am Lisa's campaign manager, and I will be your host slash moderator for the evening. For the afternoon. It's a little early for evening. So thank you again for coming. So we'll just go over the agenda and just some small ground rules for the event. So first of all, the agenda. Oh, well, let's talk about rules. I'm going to have you all muted while anybody's speaking, but we will unmute you for the Q&A portion of the event. Lisa will do her speech first. Eric, our bartender from Warp and Weft, who has agreed to join us, is going to be making a blueberry lemonade for us and then an old fashioned. So we'll be doing that. We'll also be talking about, we'll be talking about donations and how to volunteer for the campaign. And we'll be doing a toast and a group photo, always important. And we do have some virtual swag at the end of the meeting, which is very exciting. And obviously Q&A throughout. So during the Q&A, we'll just ask you to, if you've never used Zoom before, what you're going to look for, there's a chat button at the bottom of your screen. You'll just need to click in that and type your questions there. We'll be, Amy, one of our volunteers, is going to be feeding those questions over to me. I will, there's Amy. I will unmute you and then you can ask your question during that time. So if anyone has any questions throughout, Lisa will do her speech, so we won't take questions during that part, but you can always raise your hands or, like I said, put it in the chat and we'll just kind of keep an eye on who's got their hand raised at any given moment. Okay, so going forward, just to introduce myself real quick, again, my name is Marissa DuPont. I live in Pawtuckaville in Lowell. I've known Lisa for about 4 years now. We met through Solidarity Lowell, which is a local political action group. They work towards social justice by defending the human rights, dignity, and equality of all persons against all forms of hate and discrimination. They're a volunteer-based group of Greater Lowell community members and a chapter of Progressive Massachusetts. Lisa and I were both on the coordinating committee of Solidarity Lowell together, and through that I got to know her very well and saw how fabulous a person she is, and that she's been fantastic in terms of management and helping with the group and stepping up and doing the work that needs to get done, especially with getting the Incorruptibles going with our group, which helps elect folks who are unable to be corrupted to government office, which ties into a lot of what you'll hear today. So yeah, she has a master's in quality systems management and has been the chief of staff at Cisco Systems for 20+ years. She is on the board of the Handbill Musicians of America and the American Society for Quality, and she's a member of the Lowell Bike Coalition, Solidarity Lowell, which I mentioned, Merrimack Valley Project, the Nature Conservancy, Mass Audubon, and the ACLU. Yeah, and without further ado, take it away, Lisa.
Right. So hi, everyone, and thank you for coming to our garden party and campaign launch. As Marissa mentioned, I have been involved with Solidarity Lowell, and every month we bring in different organizations that talk about social justice issues and talk about the great work that they're doing for the state of Massachusetts. And I'm running because as I listen to all of these groups, I realize there's so much going on, and I want to be one more voice. It's so hard to get stuff done, and the more voices we have sitting in the State House, the more we'll be able to move some of those justice issues forward. And I believe when people together accomplish great things. So I'm ready to do that. COVID-19 pandemic has really highlighted what's broken with our government, but it's also shown what's working. It's been hard to see people pick up where the government has failed us and do all sorts of volunteering efforts. Every time somebody sends a message. I'm going to have to get out of this, Marissa. I'm sorry. Every time somebody sends a message, it goes blink and then you
We
have
were
to...
just telling you that you're breaking up a little bit, so I wasn't
No,
sure.
breaking up because every time I get a message, it...
Oh, that was us panicking. My apologies.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm trying to figure out how to shut that off, but I can't figure it out. So here we go. I'll just hit that X right there. Okay. Hopefully that will be better. All right. So you'll have to find another way to send me a message because I had to shut it. Sorry. Okay. So where did I leave off? All right. So the COVID-19 pandemic has highlighted all that's broken with the government, but it's also shown us what is working. And what's working are all of the people who have really picked up what the government has failed us. And those are things like people who have the 3D printers where they're printing face shields, or sewing masks at home, donating food or transporting that food to those at risk, or those who helped me out by donating supplies for the hand washing stations that I installed downtown. So the hand washing, when the city shut down, I was walking by the Dunkin' and realized, oh, the people in the homeless community no longer have a place that they can go during the day because the city shut down all public buildings. They need to leave their shelter in the morning and come back in the evening, and this really left them vulnerable. The CDC said that the #1 thing that we can all do to prevent the spread of this virus is to wash our hands. And without access to public washrooms, we're putting the health of the homeless as well as ourselves at risk. So I figured out exactly what needed to happen, how I could do this. I tried to buy actual state portable hand washing stations. The lead time for them to get here was 2 months. I felt like that just wasn't enough. So I figured out how to do it in a makeshift way, called the city, figured out mostly that it was okay to do it. And it happened. So this is an example of kind of me getting this done. I see a need, I figure out what needs to happen, and I need to move forward. And there's a lot of stories like that in the community. And our community is surviving because ordinary people have gone to extraordinary lengths to take care of each other when the system has failed us. But not everybody's doing okay. This pandemic is not just affecting our physical health and daily life, it's also affecting our mental health. People are experiencing stress and anxiety from losing their jobs or having less money in their paycheck, or perhaps they're experiencing loneliness because of the isolation that we're experiencing. Or maybe we're worrying about losing our home or our business, or being evicted because we can't pay the rent. I know what it's like to have to worry about all of these things. Within the span of 3 years, I lost both of my sisters to mental illness, and they were experiencing, similar types of stress and anxiety. And I've seen firsthand how the healthcare system has failed to provide necessary access and care in a timely manner, and what that can do to a person. The minimum available care is inconsistent across insurance providers, especially when dealing with health issues, where having consistency of care is extremely important. If a person has to change therapists in the middle of a crisis because they were forced to change insurance because of their job, or because their job decided at that time to change insurance carriers, or because they lost their job, this can be a life-threatening event for some people, for people who are going through a mental health crisis. If we could get universal healthcare, that could assure that no matter what our situation is, we can have with us the medical providers we trust to help us through any crisis. We won't have to choose between our health, our jobs, and our homes. The other truth of these housing and health crises have only been more exposed. We knew that this was a problem. Now I think it's more obvious, and it's more obvious to more people. And after this pandemic is over, we're going to need to rebuild. Small business relief is available, but it's not going to the mom and pop stores and restaurants that it needs to. And those businesses are the ones that really make our community thrive. We also have reassurance that no eviction or closures will occur during the stay-at-home advisory. But what's going to happen when that advisory is over? I know what it's like to live paycheck to paycheck, to have to choose between putting food on the table or putting gas in your car so you can get to work, having to choose whether or not to go to the doctor when you're sick or paying your rent that month. These are decisions nobody should have to make, and yet in today's economy, even before this pandemic hit, this was the common inner dialogue a lot of us were having. So many of us are one paycheck away from crisis, and now that crisis is gone, that paycheck is gone, and we've seen how it has an immediate effect either on ourselves or on our family and friends. So we need to find an equitable solution to the affordable housing crisis. Our tax dollars are being spent inefficiently. It costs 3 times as much to provide services for a person who has lost their home than it costs to keep them in their home to begin with. And for those who are looking for housing, there are not enough homes. In some communities, you can be on the waiting list between 8 and 11 years before you can get available housing. 8 years, a lot can change in that time. What we need is people to get in their homes now. They don't need it 8 years from now. So first, we need to find solutions that help people keep their homes. And second, we need to make sure that there are homes available at prices affordable to those at all income levels, and especially for those who are trying to make ends meet with salaries below the median level. I also want to champion getting better public transportation. We need to ensure that trains and buses run where the people need them and the cost is for those who need it most. The MBTA is broken more often than it's running, and the costs are increasing, the hours are decreasing. In Chelmsford, if you live in Chelmsford and you need to get to downtown Lowell for an appointment, for example, it takes 2 hours just to travel the 7 miles between the two cities, or between the town and the city. That's 2 hours out, 2 hours back. That's your appointment. Who has 5 extra hours in their day to be getting just to an appointment? So we need to make sure that the routes really do service the people who are going to need them. So we need to make sure that public transit is more efficient, more affordable, more reliable, and more accessible. I also be for sidewalks. In December, I broke my hip, and during that time, I was having to get around on crutches. I discovered just how unsafe the streets are for people on crutches or in wheelchairs. And the streets are not for walking or riding bikes. There is funding available, and I want to make sure that the 17th Middlesex gets their share of safe routes to schools and complete streets funding. There's accessible infrastructure in places like DC, California, and across Europe have shown that when we invest in infrastructure, it brings more people to our cities and town centers, and those people come and spend money to boost our local economy. In addition, it gives us an added benefit of reducing emissions, which is an important element in emission. I plan to take on climate change by supporting the Massachusetts Green New Deal, which puts the burden of payment on the industry leaders who have for so long denied the science and fought very hard to delay action. We need to transition our electric heating and transportation systems away from oil, gas, and coal towards solar, wind, and other clean, renewable energy systems. State funding is available for green jobs and infrastructure. We need to make sure that that money comes to our communities and is tied to boosting local businesses and not rewarding out-of-state investors. I'm ready to listen to the needs of our community, to hear what your priorities are, and to take action. I want to make positive changes to help revitalize our economy and our community. I've worked for 25 years in business, helping teams manage major transformations to the way they do their work. I specialize in helping teams make big changes and get things done. And I'm ready to get things done for the residents of the 17th Middlesex District. So let's win this together. I ask you now to please support my campaign by making a donation. Any amount would be very helpful. Marissa is going to share the link to the Act Blue account in the chat now, or you can find it in the email invitation. Remember, I will be matching 50% of all the donations made during this party to a charity that you're going to choose later on. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Lisa. I'm sorry for the problems with the sound. Is my sound coming through okay for everybody? Okay. All right. So we're trying to troubleshoot with Lisa. This is, of course, never happened even when we rehearsed. So thank you all for being understanding about this. So now we're going to take a few questions. I'm going to take a look at, it looks like there's a lot of comments about the sound, but who has a question? Would anyone like to raise their hand? Nothing yet. I'm not seeing any raised hands.
We do the poll?
Not yet.
Okay.
All right. So, oh, and the other thing I wanted to do is I forgot to, oh, John Grossman has a question. I will unmute you. Oh, you're unmuted. Okay, John, go ahead.
Hi. The state is about to head into a major revenue crisis. What ideas do you have? And I think you mentioned some of them, although it wasn't all easy to make out because of the sound problem. What ideas do you have about raising revenue in order to do some of the things we need to do?
Well, the first thing I think we need to do specifically related to the COVID-19 crisis is to dip into the rainy day fund. I mean, if anything is a rainy day fund, I think we've come upon the definition of a rainy day. So there's not enough, obviously, but I think it's the start. And I know there's hesitation right now for people to do it. The other thing I think we need to do is pass the Fair Share Amendment. The Fair Share Amendment is coming out. Hopefully, we'll have the signatures to get it on the ballot. But even so, we're not going to be able to take advantage of that until 2023. So we need to do something now. And I think there are a couple of things we can do that are actually on the table. And I'm going to refer to my notes that people do not mind. If I can find it. We need to right now we don't have progressive revenue, and the Fair Share Amendment will give that. The other thing we can do is raise the tax rate and raise the tax on long-term capital gains. It's currently at 5%, and nearby states are at 9%. So I think that right now might be the time to do that. And also the corporate minimum tax to be raised for larger companies. So those are some things we can start with.
Thanks, John. Does anyone else have a question? Okay, it sounds like there were some problems with the sound. Lisa, would you mind just paraphrasing your answer again?
I will paraphrase it. Fair Share Amendment takes place in 2023. We need to figure out how to make up the income between now and then. We can do that by raising the corporate minimum tax, which is only $450. That doesn't seem like very much at all. And raising the corporate tax from 8% to 9.5%. And long-term capital gains also.
Great. Does that answer your question, John? Okay, great. All right, Paul Gaudette has a question. Let me find you so I can unmute you. There you are. Okay, you're unmuted.
Hey, everybody. Lisa, I just have a question about when you're a representative and you're having to vote on government spending and government projects and Massachusetts Green New Deal and all the rest, will you commit to making sure that we see good union jobs with wages and benefits from those public funds?
Absolutely. I think that unions are really the heart of, well, you know, they definitely play a huge role in Lowell's history, but they're the heart of a lot of business. I personally have never been in a union, but I know for a fact that the company that I work for has excellent benefits. And the reason we have excellent benefits in the high-tech sector is because they know better and they're following the lead of what the people in the unions have fought for so long. So I know that I totally owe all the benefits that I've gotten over the years working in high-tech sector to the people who've organized before me. Marissa, you are muted.
Sorry about that.
I was looking at your mouth was moving and I wasn't hearing anything. So,
anyone else? More questions? Okay, well, why don't we move forward with our agenda? So now I will turn it over to Eric from Warp and Weft, who is going to show us how to make a blueberry lemonade. Take it away, Eric.
Hi, everybody. This was going to be on the new Warp and Weft menu this summer, but we'll see what happens with that now. Starting off is a blueberry infused gin, which is really easy to make. You just put blueberries in gin and let it sit for a few days, and it actually came out very good. It smells just like blueberries. And we're going to do first, take a shaker, some ice, and it's 2 ounces of the blueberry gin. Second, we have St. Elder. It's an elderflower liqueur. You can also use Saint Germain. It's used in a lot of things that I come up with. It's going to be a 1/2 ounce of that. Lemon juice. We're going to do 3/4 ounce lemon juice. And lastly, very easy to make at home, just simple syrup, equal parts sugar, water, boil it down. We'll do 1/2 ounce of that. And then shake. Take a rocks glass, a couple ice cubes. And where'd my strainer go? Well, can't find my strainer apparently, so you can just use this. And garnish with a lemon. And there you have it, blueberry lemonade. Ooh, that's good.
Cheers. I wish we could all try it.
That's easy to make. Thank you.
Thanks, Eric. All right, we'll come back to you in a little bit for our next drink. Okay, so now what we'd like to do, everybody could, is to do a toast. So if you could all grab your respective beverages. I have a fancy water and a glass, and hold them up and we will take a group photo. So, a toast to Lisa. I'm gonna do this. Smile. All right, I gotta switch to the other screen. Smile. Great, got it. All righty. So now, I would just like to talk about volunteering. So right now, a lot of folks are stuck at home and may or may not have some extra time. And one of the best ways to support Lisa right now is to volunteer. We have a lot of options on the campaign, and it's also a great option. You know, obviously times are tough for a lot of folks right now, and if you're unable to donate, you know, if you can share a couple of hours with us every week, that'd be fantastic. Or even if it's just one time, obviously we'll take what we can get. So one of the things we need are folks to send text messages to voters. This would be, it's a small commitment, only 1 to 2 hours a week. You can do it right from your browser, and obviously I would personally train you. So it's really, really easy. You just go to a website, click send, 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 and then reply as messages come in, and we'll give you recommended replies. Super easy. It's actually a lot of fun. We did that this week to invite people to this event. Another option is to call our potential constituents. This would be 2 to 4 hours a week right from your browser. We're working on getting that system set up right now. It's actually the same system that we're using for texting. They do a phone banking system. So that's really easy. Again, we'll give you scripts so you don't have to worry about what to say. And you just call folks and talk to them about Lisa and how great she is. Another thing is to make fundraising calls. These would not be through the phone banking system, but you're just calling folks and asking for them to support Lisa financially. Another one is helping with community initiatives. You heard Lisa talk about the hand washing station that she has set up downtown. We're hoping to set up additional hand washing stations, and we need stewards for those. We're also calling seniors in the community and checking on them and making sure that there's anything that they need, and possibly delivering groceries and that kind of thing. Whatever they need, we're willing to do. Another thing, which is very important, is to host an online meet and greet similar to the event we're having right now. You invite your friends, we'll set it up for you in Zoom, and then you just send your friends the invites, and then we come, Lisa gives her speech, and we all talk about, you know, what's going on with the campaign. And then the last thing we need a lot of help with actually is data entry. So all of these things that we're doing, they require information to be entered into Vote Builder in the back end. So if you are able to do that, we would love to have you. And if you're interested, just put it in the chat, or you can email me, marissa@lisaforstaterep.com, or volunteer@lisaforstaterep.com. All right, so, oh right, yeah. So the other thing, obviously, we want to talk about is donating. So too many people are facing financial hardship right now, either from COVID-19 or otherwise. So if you can't afford to give, we do understand just attending this launch is support enough. However, for those of you who can donate, any amount would make a difference in helping Lisa reach her goal. We do have a goal for the event of $2,000. Hold on, I'm just copying and pasting the link over here so you all have it. Again, there's the donation link. The goal for this event, again, is $2,000. So we're hoping to use that to set up the phone banking system. We also have additional goals of doing 3 to 4 mailers. One will be deploying in the next few weeks, we're hoping. And we also have goals to do additional advertising on Facebook and banner ads on different websites. So we would love your support with all of that. So again, please donate. We would be eternally grateful. And also, Lisa is matching 50% to the dollar and will donate to an organization that you choose. So there's 4 different organizations that we have to choose from today, and we're going to poll you in just a minute. So I'm going to tell you what those organizations are. So the first one is LLAMA, Lifting Llewellyans Assistance and Mutual Aid. They are a mutual aid group in Lowell. They're doing amazing things to connect people who are able to help with people who need help. Community Teamwork is the second one. They are mobilizing resources for low-income people. Lowell Transitional Living Center is the third one. They are helping to end homelessness in Lowell. And the final one, the fourth one, is International Institute of New England in Lowell. They are providing support services for refugees and immigrants in Lowell. So we're going to launch that poll now. Here. Okay, you should see that popping up on your screen. So just take a minute to choose which organization you think Lisa should contribute to. And just leave it up for a few minutes. Okay, looks like there's just one person left to vote. Okay. And with 50% of the vote, I can show you, looks like it's going to be to Llama. So Lisa will make that donation at the end of the meeting. So congratulations to Llama. Okay, so now we'll take some more questions. Who has another question for Lisa? Okay, Lisa, there's just a question about the districts. What exactly does the 17th district consist of, location-wise?
It is the one small part of the downtown triangle from the Concord River, I think it is. No, the Merrimack, to Dutton Street, and then back Central and South Lowell and Belvedere. I think that's all of them. Oh, and Precinct 4 in Chelmsford. Very important.
Great. Okay, Steve has a question. Steve, you are, well, I'm trying to unmute you. I don't know why you're not unmuting. There you go. Steve, your question.
Lisa, what is your strategy for winning?
Great question. We're going to do, I mean, we are in unprecedented times, and we are basically launching a mostly digital campaign because we can't knock on doors. I am going at the moment on the assumption that this is not going to be over before September 1st. And that the idea of knocking on doors isn't going to happen. So we're going to need to reach people through digital means, through the phone, and having people reach out to the people that they know. And then I'm going to start with that. And Marissa as my campaign manager, and she's great at what she does, so she can add to that.
Okay, so yeah, all right, I just want to make sure I wasn't muted again. So again, we're going to be doing 3 mailers. That's the big thing to start with. We're going to be reaching out to people primarily over the phone and with texting as well, because again, we can't safely door knock right now. So the best thing to do is to try to reach out to folks over the phone. So that's our goal mainly is that, again, the mailers, we're going to be doing the Facebook ads, and we'll also be doing a bunch of other online events. We're talking about doing a town hall on mental health coming up in the next few weeks for Mental Health Awareness Month. So we'll be working on that, and we'll be doing additional town halls and other events in the future to talk about the other issues that Lisa cares the most about. Did that answer your question? Kind of.
If you have other ideas, would love to hear them.
Yes. Obviously, campaigning in the time of COVID is very complicated. We need to make sure that we're prioritizing doing it safely. So we're working with a bunch of different organizations. I'm a alumni of Emerge Massachusetts, and they've done a whole webinar series about how to campaign in the time of COVID. So we're just trying to prioritize everyone's safety above everything else and making sure that we're doing it responsibly. Does anyone else have a question? Okay, so Tony, here you are. Oop, this went by. Tony, I'm gonna unmute you for a second. Tony has a question about the performance of Governor Baker and what the state has done in regards to the pandemic.
Yeah, so hi, Lisa. I'm one of your constituents in Chelmsford in District 4. I'm just curious to find out from your perspective what you felt during this pandemic time, what you felt the state has done well, what you feel the state has not done well, and if you could comment on how you feel Governor Baker has handled the pandemic.
I think we were slow to respond. I think if we'd have been a lot quicker to respond, we'd be in a lot better shape right now. We've definitely done some things right, but having it be a stay-at-home advisory as opposed to a stay-at-home order meant I think people didn't take it as seriously, and they've been out a lot more. Suggesting that we wear masks, I think, came a little too late. I think everything that we've done, I think, has been good stuff. I just think that we waited a little too long, and if we'd done it sooner, we might be able to get out of it a little quicker. So, one of the things that, I did the hand washing stations, I think that before we shut everything down, they needed to think about those people who don't have access to soap and water during the day. What can we do to help them? Because if they're out there in the public, they are contracting the disease and they're spreading the disease. And I think that I don't really think that they thought about that when they did the shutdown. The other thing I think is really important is decarceration. There's no reason why so many people are still sitting in jails. They're looking at it, they're talking about it, but by the time they finally execute on it, it'll be too late. The disease will already have spread through the prison system. And so letting people go who are elderly, who are at risk, who are almost at the end of their sentence, people who are only in jail because maybe they had an addiction. If you leave, if you're on probation and you have a relapse in your addiction, you can get put back in jail back in prison for that. Any of those people, they could have let those people out. So there's a whole lot of things they could have done just for the decarceration that would have definitely made that entire population much safer. So.
Tony, did that answer your question?
Yeah.
Great.
Okay. I think Martha has her hand raising.
Yes, Martha has a question about lawn signs. Hold on, let me find her. Here she is. All right, Martha, you are unmuted.
Okay, I have two questions. One, in terms of, the campaign, yard signs was one, and then I've seen for birthdays and celebrations, I've seen a lot of drive-bys with rows of cars and signs, and perhaps that's an avenue you could explore in terms of campaigning.
Good idea. Marissa's in charge of all of that.
Yeah, so obviously we want to make sure that we reach our campaign goals financially before we can afford to do lawn signs. And especially, again, it goes back to safety. We want to make sure that it's safe. The other thing to consider too is that lawn signs right now may not be the best choice because traffic is so reduced, but it is something that we'll consider further down the line. I believe Wynn had a question. Let me go over to her. Oh, where is she? There she is. All right, Wynn, you are unmuted.
Hi, Lisa. I just wanted to find out, how do you choose the people to reach out to?
There is the state has a program that you can actually get all the names of who is in your district and phone numbers. And I'm looking at who's voted regularly or who's voted at all in a primary in the last few years as a start. And then I will expand that universe and look at just eligible voters in general. And hopefully this last round with the text kind of showed us that the names and the phone numbers we got from the state were not very reliable. So I'm hoping that we can find other sources that are a little bit more reliable too. So.
Okay, thank you.
All right, does anyone else have a question before we go on to our second drink of the event? Looks like, nope. Okay, so we'll go back over to Eric to show us how to make an old fashioned. Take it away.
Hey guys. This is probably the easiest drink you can make. All you need is these three things right here: simple syrup, bourbon, and Angostura bitters. I'm going to take a glass, some ice, and I'm going to do 2 ounces of bourbon, half an ounce of simple syrup. And 2 dashes of Angostura bitters. Give that a quick stir. Put that over an ice cube. And then the most important part is an orange peel. Just rub that right around the rim. Give it a little spritz. Right on in. There you are. That's good.
Cheers. Thank you, Eric. And just a friendly reminder that Warp and Weft is offering takeout right now, so please support them and help folks like Eric keep their businesses afloat. So next, just a friendly reminder, don't forget to donate. There's the link in the chat again. And also, we have some fun virtual swag for you as well. I made a handy dandy graphic that you can add to your social media posts. So if you just click on that and then right click the graphic, you can save it to your computer or your phone and share it away. So we're very excited about that. And we hope that you will please share the graphic and continue to donate. All right, so we've got about 13 minutes left of the event. Does anyone else have any questions? I'm not seeing any hands raised. Oh, right. We have one last poll that I forgot to do, so I'm going to put that up for you now. So this is about what issues are most important to you. So I'm going to post that up on the screen right now for you. So please answer. You can choose as many of them as you like, I think, as long as it's working the way it's supposed to. So please answer and let us know what issues are the most important to you so Lisa knows what to focus on the most in her campaign. Okay, looks like half of you have responded so far. Paul's comment is funny. He said he's hearing the Jeopardy theme song in his head. I agree, Paul. Right there with you. All right, just a few more folks left to weigh in on that poll. Just give it a couple more seconds. Okay, so I'm going to end that and share those results with you all. So right now it looks like climate change came in on top, and then public transportation, COVID-19, obviously, transparency in government and good government, healthcare, mental health, voting rights, Oh, racial and social justice. I missed that one. That's at the bottom. That was actually the most important. Jobs in the economy. So yeah, we thank you so much. We really appreciate all of your input. Okay, so now I'm gonna go over to Karen, who has a question about postcards. Oh, there she is. All right, Karen, you're unmuted.
Hello there. I just have a quick question on postcarding. So when is that going to be available for us to do? Because that's another fantastic way to get your message out. And I think that's really important to even start with a blast of awesome postcards talking about you, Lisa. So thank you.
Thanks, Karen. So I can take that one, actually. We're going to be doing a letter actually first, and then we'll be doing 3 separate postcards from the campaign over the course of the next few months. And then in terms of other types of postcards, the campaign is not organizing those, but Amy, one of our dear friends, is going to be organizing those efforts, and we'll be in touch with folks who are interested. If anyone is interested in helping out, they can email Amy. Amy, if you wouldn't mind putting your email address in the chat. Did I miss anything? Do you want to cover, is there anything else you want to talk about, Amy? Hold on, there you go.
Okay, no, not really. I mean, like you were saying, it's going to be different this time than usual. I know it's always fun to kind of go to local coffee shops and things and get together, but we can still do it. I figure I'm planning on putting together little postcard kits and sending them out to people. And maybe we could even do a Zoom meeting here and there if people are interested, just to chat while we're doing it. So definitely, yeah, amy@thepond.com. I'm typing it right now. And send me an email if you're interested. We would love to have you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Amy. Okay, any other questions? Okay, well, thank you so much, everyone, for coming.
Wait.
Oh, Lisa wants to say one more thing.
I just saw a question come over about this. The role that I am running for. So state representative is, there are 2 houses there's 3 branches in the state as well as in the federal. So there's the Senate, which our lovely Senator Kennedy is the senator for this area. And then there are 3 different representatives representing Lowell, Golden, currently Nangle, and Mom. And I am challenging Representative Nangle, who has been in the office for 22 years and only had a challenger one of those elections during that whole time. And we need to have better representation, and we need to make sure that we have challengers for these people so they don't get comfortable in the role and start doing not being accountable. So that's important. And in Chelmsford, they actually have 4 different representatives representing them. So I actually lived in Chelmsford when we had 1 representative for the entire town, and I was living there when they split it up. And now no representative has a majority in Chelmsford. So Chelmsford, I feel like, having lived there, it's kind of close to my heart. I want to make sure that they have the representation that they deserve. So does that help answer your question, Susan? Oh, it's the state house. So.
And Paul just asked when primary day is.
September 1st. It is not Labor Day. Thank goodness, not the day after Labor Day. Labor Day comes a week earlier that day, so it's a week later. Thank goodness.
And hopefully we'll have vote by mail then too. So we'll need to be paying attention to when the absentee ballot deadline is and all of that. And we'll make sure from from the campaign to send you all information about all of those deadlines so that you're able to get your ballots in on time. And you can always join the mailing list from Lisa's website. You can see it on her screen right here, lisaforstaterep.com. And you can reach out to either of us. Lisa is lisa@lisaforstaterep.com. I am Marissa, Marissa, @lisaforstaterep.com. Any other questions? Okay.
All right.
Lisa, did you want to say anything else before we go?
Thank you all for coming. This is great. And I look forward to working with you and working for you. So.
Thank you so much, everybody. You have a great afternoon and weekend, and we will be in touch.
All right. Thank you.
Bye.